So hello, I'm that one girl. I go by a lot of different names, but actually, being one of Jehovah's Witnesses, it is very difficult to try to leave that faith and even know who you are. So actually, I have had a variety of names. I've gone by a lot my whole life, but I think that is possibly, I know at least with my situation, I don't really have a personal person myself. I've got to find who I am. I've been told who I needed to be my whole life, and so now I am trying really hard to deal with difficulties and frustration and trying to leave the Jehovah's Witness faith and deal with the shunning. So I am here today because I know there's a lot of people out there like me who know that there's a better way to live out there than under the severe oppression of the Jehovah's Witness faith. Now, I personally don't care how you believe. I'm getting this out more for support for others. It's not that I don't care, it's just I can't care. I have cared my whole life about what other people believe so much that I've lost myself. And so here is where I am today. The reason why I decided to do a YouTube video is because there's so many things that I see as can be said without hostility and anger. I think the voice of reason is huge, even when you're upset and emotional. I've had to sit back and really take into consideration other people's feelings too, which do matter. I love people in general so much. It's one of the reasons why I did really, really well as a Jehovah's Witness. But the simple fact that you can't freely love is one of the reasons why I can no longer be one. I want to extend unconditional love. I want to have the freedom to love without judgment. And as a Jehovah's Witness, you can't do that. I will give you an example. It's an example of the shunning. It's very sad. In fact, I've got lots of brothers and sisters who have all been disfellowshipped at one time or another. My ex-husband was disfellowshipped, and lots of friends. I have seen firsthand what it can do to families. And now I see it even on the other side, to where I have willfully left. Told my family that I no longer wanted to be a Jehovah's Witness. They didn't ask me why. In fact, when I did offer to my sister some reasons, she said that she didn't want to know. So it gives you some insight as to the close-mindedness and the ignorance within the faith. That is not me. If I am going to believe something, I need to believe it with my whole heart and know it to be truth. And the thing is truth circles around. It always does. When you say the truth, it always proves itself. There's no falseness to it. And for a group of people claiming to be anointed of God will dictate that they've already done the research, that people have already done it, and they have printed the pros and cons in their own religious pamphlets or books or whatever you want to call it, that you don't need to go out and verify it, that is actually very dangerous to do. So we have done it for you, and now you need to believe what we have written, because if you go and search too far, or you talk about it too much, or you question too much, you have now become someone who is actually under investigation as being an apostate, which is kind of weird, actually. Even Jesus questioned. It's just interesting where you really can't And if anybody tells me that you can, it's not true. It's been proven time and time again. When you have serious inquiries, serious questions like why aren't they protected? Why is it that almost every single abuse case that doesn't have a witness, which I don't know how many people get abused with a witness around, but that's all right. Why they aren't reported, why they aren't just given to the authorities to take care of, which is really, I mean, if God has put the governments in existence to protect us, why not protect our children? Lots of reasons, but that is one. When you can't question that and you can't get satisfying answers, and you see a organization losing billions of dollars and not answering that question, you have a right to know. You have a right to know why your contributed, excuse me. A little nervous, sorry, this is my first video. But why our contributed funds should be given out as payment for not helping the courts out. Punitive damages, I think is what they call that. But why? Why not just give the courts what they want, since they were appointed? Do you understand what I mean? So if you question your beliefs, it's alright. That's okay. You deserve answers. If you believe in God, and I don't care what your beliefs are, actually. You could be a witness. You could be somebody who agnostic, an apostate, whatever those are. Whatever. If you want the truth, you should be able to ask about it. If you want answers, you should be able to get them. And they are out there. It's no question that this life it has answers and questions. I mean, that's why we're here. We know that there's lots of things to answer, and it's okay to ask the questions and to spend our life finding the answers. Being told that we can't look anywhere other than one specific source to find satisfactory answers to our life's purpose, it's a little narrow-minded. And then when you realize that those anointed people who have claimed to be chosen by God since way back before 1900s have changed. I mean, if you look in your own old books, maybe from your grandma, I mean, I've got some, you look in those old theocratic books, and what they're releasing now, what you can see online now, versus what it was printed in those books is different. They're changing the wording, so to cover up former beliefs, to cover up things, and that is what I have a hard time with. When I have a printed book in my own library and the wording has been changed, to me that's more hiding than accepting the fact that you have had new light. New light shouldn't be that new. If it was inspired of God, he should have known 100 years ago or now that it was truth. And if they're saying that that was no longer truth, but this is now truth because we've been given new light, is just something to think about. Jesus, when he was on earth, never said that he had new light. Not like that anyway, not that it was formally done wrong. So, anyway, just interesting thoughts to ponder. I was not satisfied. I am not satisfied with what the Watchtower is doing, what they are now being, considering what they used to be. I remember when I didn't even know who the faces were. I remember when you didn't know who the anointed brothers, who the governing body was, and occasionally you might meet someone who was old and frail, who was part of the anointed, who would partake once a year. But You sure see them now. You see them out in the open and being almost godlike to all of the followers that are watching them on jw.org. Lots of changes, weird changes, things that I'm like, wow, these are no longer humble men. These are men that are standing up to the authorities and saying, we're not answering to you, and you're going to use only these type of emojis. And it's sad, actually, the oppression. And I just no longer want it, and I can question it. And the interesting thing is you look at these families who are dealing with shunning, and they still love you. It's interesting. Some of them, friends or family, will say, you know, just know if we text, we can only text about business. But when I sign my name at the bottom, it means I love you. Or, you know I'll always love you even if I can't say it. So that is interesting to me. And it makes me a little sad, makes me a little hurt, but I have to just call it as I see it in a very reasonable way. How much does it show that you are afraid of men? Because you know God can see everything you do. God sees that you love your family. God sees that this person who is leaving is not a bad person, not a wicked person. It's a person with questions, a person that needs answers, and it's not going to just mindlessly follow what people say. They want proof. I need proof. And those people are strong. Those are the people that you love and support, and you are like so amazed that they would leave an organization because they were so good at it, right? Well, the reason why is because it's not a good relationship. It's not a good organization. It teaches you to withhold your love. Unconditional love is just that, love without judgment, love without conditions. And when someone is telling you to put conditions on your love, for example, I will only love you if you believe just like I do. If you don't believe like I do, then you do not have my love. We cannot talk, and sorry. But we can still do business. So you can help me out, and we can make profit off of you. That way, there's no issues with not being taken care of necessity-wise. But as far as love goes, no, we're withholding that from you. Only unless you believe what we believe. Food for thought. It's not cool. It's not what God would want. It's not what Jesus did. Certainly not something I'm going to do, whether my mom and dad want me to or not. So, I love my family. I love the witnesses. This is who I am. I'm proud of how I was raised. My dad, whether he was a witness or not, from the very beginning, before he was even a witness, if he saw something on the side of the road, it wouldn't take it. It's not his. You don't touch that. That's the man that raised me. And that's who I am today. It's not necessarily because I was a witness, although that has a lot to do with it. When they have you under their thumb, you can't help but be a good kid. Can't help but do right, especially when you have good intentions. And that's what I had. And actually, I still do have good intentions. I just not towards the Jehovah's Witness organization. I want to support those who need help. I want to say it's okay to question. It's okay to want answers and to not be satisfied when what you're told is not right and not normal. If your gut is saying something, we're not talking about our head because knowledge can affect that and IQ. We're not talking about our heart because we all know that the heart is treacherous. We're talking about your gut. When your gut says, hey, when you won't love me because I don't believe the same way you do, something wrong there, man. That means your judgments need to go away so you can love freely. With that is who I am. Number 2 is where I came from. I'm going to be recording these all day today and not even listening to them, so I can hopefully have the courage to post this. 15 minutes are up. I'll be right back to let you know where I came from.